Hi, it's Tanya from Tanya Strong Books, and I'm here with Rachel from Closed Door Romance.
Hey,
We're so excited to have you here. What year did you start your Closed Door on Instagram?
I'm just last March, so a little over a year now.
Okay, so I think I had barely transformed my Instagram that I wasn't using like at all to to do book reviews, and you've just like exploded with all these followers and all this awesome content. So I'm so excited for people to like share with people about all that. So so is that about when you decided to review books? Have you been reviewing books before you started your Instagram page? Tell me all about that.
So Instagram was not my thing. I was never on it. I was mostly on Facebook. And so that's kind of where everything started was I was reading books and then posting reviews and just questions and whatnot on Facebook. And then someone just happened to mention, hey, if you're looking for more, actually Instagram's the place to go. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so then I switched over to Instagram and then just discovered a whole new world.
Yeah. So you were doing reviews on Facebook?
Yeah, so I was doing like here and there, more for myself. Like I wasn't really sharing reviews. I didn't realize like Goodreads was a thing until like maybe January of that year. And then I had to like go back and remember all the books that I had read, which was a pain, but that's okay.
What's your favorite thing about posting on social media about all these books and all the content you have?
I think my favorite is just connecting with other readers and authors and bookstagrammers that just love the same books I do because I have like one neighbor who really loves the same books I do, but outside of that, like I really don't have anyone nearby or like in my real life, you could call it, that want to talk books with me. And I needed that outlet besides like my poor husband who's like trying to get excited with me, but he's like, I really just, it doesn't really apply to me. So I was just excited to meet other people that knew what I was talking about, already loved the authors, already loved the books. Like I felt like we were instant friends because we already had such a good way to connect with each other.
Yes, I think that's one of my favorite things too, is I kind of felt alone in my need to find clean books, that I felt like I could put on my bookshelf for my children. My kids could pick it up and read it, and I don't have to
Right.
feel, embarrassed reading it. And I was struggling finding stuff at the library. So please tell us what you offer because I love what you have for people like me and anyone looking for even different levels of romance in books.
Yeah, so I started just a closed door romance author database. And so in it, you can basically search by author's name, you can search by like physical intimacy level. So instead of just saying like this is a clean book or a closed door romance, you can actually search by level. So like level one would be just like in the book where it just says they kissed, and that's like the extent of the kiss, or level two would be a little bit more descriptive. So it can say they deepened the kiss or they were, I don't know, just a little bit more descriptive. And then level three is super descriptive. So they may say what their mouths are doing, what their tongues are doing, just a little bit more descriptive than that. So I love that in the database, you can just search for exactly what you want. Because for me, I know like just having it be non explicit is great, but I really just want to know what type of physical intimacy there is because there is such a large like range of what authors write. And so for me, it was really important to have that delineation between the levels so people could actually find what they wanted. So they didn't like start a book, get halfway through, they finally get to where it's a kiss, and it's just like way too much for them. And so with the database, you can just search for exactly what you want. If you just want level two and Regency, you just click those and just brings up all the authors that write that for you. So it just makes it an easy way to just kind of narrow down exactly who you want to read from.
I love that. And so my husband builds websites, and at one point I was like, yeah, I'd really like to make something where people can find clean books, but I like didn't really know. And then when you came out with yours, I'm like, oh, it's done. Like that, it's perfect. No, it really is. It's like because I can say this is clean, but everyone has different levels of what they're comfortable with. And
Yeah,
so
for
I love
sure.
that you give it that they can label it in a way that then whatever you feel like you're comfortable with, you can search for books in that category. So I love that. And I feel like it's
Yeah.
so good for like teenagers as well as adults, you know?
Yeah, so it does have the young adult category in there, so you can search by young adult too, which is really nice. It is $2.49 a month or like 28 for the entire year, but you can try it out for free for like 24 hours just to see if it's something that you really enjoy. And then there's also featured authors on there that are just free to look at all their content and triggers and everything else for them too.
That's cool. What has been your most challenging thing about social media?
I mean, there's a few. For me, the most challenging thing is just feeling like you constantly have to figure out new contents and new posts and new reels. And for me, who wanted to grow really fast, I knew I had to come up with new content pretty much every day. And
Mhm.
so that can be a lot to try to figure out how to say different things, but be still around my same niche of closed door romance. And so it can be a little bit hard to figure out the balance between those and still make sure that the content I'm putting out is still valuable and still worth something and not just I'm posting because I feel like I need to post.
Right. And do you post every day, multiple times a day?
Yeah, so usually I post twice a day, every day, except for Sundays. Sundays are my day off of social media where I can just focus on family and just kind of reset and refocus and then take on the next week once again.
Yeah. Do you record every day?
Um, Typically I try to record something every day. But not always. I do have like my B reel, which is like when I've just recorded myself like pretending to read something or just randomly pointing at things, and then I can just fill in what I need to.
Mhm.
But typically I do record at least like once a day.
Okay. I I'm lazy. I like
That's
to do
not a bad thing.
I like to do batches and I'm like so bad about do you try to because I know people say like get on and connect with people and I love connecting with people. But I feel like I get on and I either get distracted or I'm like, okay, I've got 5 seconds. So I just
Yeah.
quickly scroll and oh, that's cute. And I'll comment on things that I like and then I'm off. And
Yeah.
do you have certain goals that you like to do or a certain amount of time you like to spend connecting and all those things?
No, not really. Just when I can, I just go through and I kind of do the same thing where I just will scroll and if something pops out that I want to read or respond to, then I'll do that or I'll just respond to comments and like the people that or like the comments that have been put on my reels and posts and just kind of connect to people that way.
How many books do you read a month?
So when I first started my whole reading journey, I started reading again because I was super sick. So really the only thing I could do was read. And so like a year and a half ago or so, I was reading like 40 to 50 books a month. And so that's why I ran out of books so fast. I was like, I've read every book in my library. This is all there is. Like, I am out of ideas. And so that's initially why I went searching for more clean and closed door romances because I just ran out. And so, because I was going through like 40 to 50. And then ever since kind of my bookstagram has kind of taken off, then I've been busier doing other things. And so lately I've been maybe reading 8 to 10 books a month, just because I'm so busy doing everything else now.
Yeah. Do you feel like your majority are audiobooks?
I've only listened to 2 audiobooks out of like the 700 plus that I've read.
Oh, wow. You must be a fast reader then. You're fast.
I am for the most part, especially when I'm on my Kindle and I don't have any distractions and I'm like, I'm just going to read. Then I can read super fast. If I'm trying to read on my phone, then I get distracted like every 2 seconds and it just doesn't work. But if I'm on my Kindle, then yeah, I'm pretty fast reader.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really slow. And I just read High Cliff House by Megan Walker. Have you read
Yeah.
that yet?
I've read her other books,
Oh,
but I haven't read that one yet.
I loved it so much that I felt I could feel that I was going slower and
Yeah.
slower. And then I like loved a page so much that I was like, I gotta read that again. And I like went back and at the end of the book, I'm like, this is why it takes me so long to read a book. I like, especially if
Yeah.
I really enjoy it, I feel like but I get so jealous when I see people that can read like even 20 plus books a month. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
how many books they get to devour. I love that. So I love that you can read that many because I can't. So then I can
Yeah.
look at your reviews and pick through through the ones I'm like, okay, I can only read about 6 books a month. So
Yep.
so I love that. Okay, let's talk personal a little bit. How many kids do you have?
So we have 4 kids. So I have a 4-year-old boy, I have a 7-year-old girl, 11-year-old girl, and a 13-year-old girl.
Do your kids know that you're a big social media influencer?
Yeah, for the most part, they keep track of it pretty good, especially my older girls. They'll help me do my reels and they will help me, do different things. So they're pretty aware of it. I think my 7-year-old and 4-year-old just don't care and don't know, but that's okay.
So, are there other interests you have besides reading, other things you like to do? Because I know you have your head wrap company business. So, you
Mhm.
like to sew.
Yeah, so for the past decade, a little bit past that, I think 11 years, I've been sewing head wraps. And so that's initially why I was on social media is I was just on Facebook marketing my head wraps. And so yeah, that's what I used to always do with my free time. And now that I've done more bookstagramming, then I've done less sewing, which is okay. But I still love them. I still do sew them. I just sew a lot less lately.
What kind of stuff do you sew besides head wraps? Can you do a lot of?
That's it. Like
Oh,
I'm capable of doing other things. Initially, I had started out my business doing custom maxi skirts.
oh,
And
cool.
so I'm capable of sewing clothes and other things. I just don't do it other than head wraps.
Yeah, that's cool though. I've seen your book ones, your bookish ones.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are so cute. I'm going to get them all those. Okay, so if you could travel anywhere, where would you go? Or have
I
you traveled
really
if you really
so
want to go?
I've never really gone anywhere outside the United States except Jamaica when I was like 8, and then we did a Caribbean cruise right after we got married. But that's like it. So ideally, I would love to go to Scotland. Those are like some of my favorite stories are written there. I just have a feeling like I would absolutely love it. Just kind of the slower pace and just go there and just experience it and slow down a little bit. So one day I want to get to Scotland. But besides that, that's like the only place that I would really care to go.
You have your database and you have like a consulting business. How
Yeah.
is that going? And yeah, tell us about that.
So I run my Bookstagram Academy. So I have there are two, kind of three self-paced courses. One is for Bookstagrammers, and it basically teaches everything I did to grow from like 0 to 34,000 in a year. And so it just runs you through everything on how to do that from like branding and what to post or when to post and how to collaborate and all these different things. And so I have that one for bookstagrammers. And then I have another one that is for romance authors. So it will tell you like how to market your books and how to find your target audience and run an ARC team and a street team and everything else. Just kind of how to launch your book or market your book on Instagram. And so I have those two courses, and I have another one that's just on Instagram Reels. That's like a mini course. And then I also do like coaching one-on-one with authors on kind of their plan on marketing and kind of what they're stuck on and how to just improve as an individual, like author or a bookstagrammer.
Gonna do. Did you ever dream one day that you were gonna be starting all these businesses that you have now?
No, not at all. Like I thought I was just going to be a stay-at-home mom who just homeschools and that was it. And I still do that and I absolutely love having my kids home and having that part of my life. But it's been really fun to kind of have this other part where I can just be Rachel who loves books and it can help authors and readers and bookstagrammers. And I am so busy because I have like all these different projects going on and I keep like thinking, oh, here's another idea that could help. And then I do a whole nother thing. And so it's always like growing, and I always feel like I'm kind of like a tornado, but it's great and I love it. I wouldn't change it, but I definitely did not plan for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that it happened that way because like my one of my friends the other day, she was saying that her husband was just in the YA section at the store and he just grabbed a couple books that looked good and she was like, "Well, I want to check them." He was like, "It was in the teen section. Like it's gonna be fine."
Yeah.
And she opened it up and there was so much like filth in there. And I love that like whenever people ask, I'm like, you can find so many authors, and I always send them to your page because I feel like you have it all and you have all these authors and And I love that that is available because I feel like when I was a teen, that wasn't available. Like
Yeah.
nothing like that. It was my mom had written down authors that she'd read, and she was like, I know for sure every book that I've read from this one is good. So now you can go look at that, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I
Yeah,
love that.
especially it's like young adult isn't young adult anymore. They did a study where like over half of the readers of young adult are adults. And so I think that's more like where it's changing is they're trying to get the adults too. And so yeah, young adult is not safe for young adults anymore. And it's just kind of a hard place to be, especially when I have a almost 14-year-old girl who's now going to be reading these books. Like I want her like I don't think she needs to be all about the romance at this young age, but at the same time, if you want just a sweet romance where they have one kiss at the end, I'd be totally okay with that. And so I love having like a whole list of books that if she wanted to read them, then I would feel totally okay reading them and not feel like I have to read them ahead of her every single time because they do read fast too. And so I'm like, I don't want to have to always pre-read every single book.
Yes, that's what I'm struggling with is my sons read way faster than I do. Way
Yeah.
faster. And I can't keep up with all the books they want to read. And then you have a special announcement. So
Yeah, so my husband one day just came up to me and he said that he could write a closed door romance book for me. And I totally thought he was joking. Um, but he did. And so he wrote this whole entire book called Grounds for Impropriety. And he took like basically every single one of my favorite things and stuck it into this book. And so it has like a bromance that reminds me of like Sean and Gus from Psych, if you've seen that show. It is a contemporary rom-com, but they're at a Regency retreat because I loved all things Regency. But I love the contemporary aspect of it. And then it's just enemies to lovers, forced proximity, one horse. It just has like everything I've ever loved in it. And there is a Scottish guy, there's a Hollywood actor. It's just, I don't know. It's just great. I love it.
oh, that's so fun. Okay, what's his background? Was he a writer before? Like has he
No. So this is, I mean, he has always been a writer, as in, like, he's a masterful, like, essay writer and paper writer, and like he's in his master's of religion, so he has to write all these long papers. And I've always been impressed by like how he can write well, but I never thought he would write a romance book, let alone like a real romance book, like 260 pages worth of romance. And so
that's
it's
awesome.
been yeah, it's been really fun and exciting just to kind of surprise everyone with this because I did keep it like under wraps. I didn't tell anyone about it until it was like a week before it launched. And so it's just kind of been fun to kind of see what everyone sees, and now reviews are coming in. I've never been so stressed in my life, but it's been fun for sure.
Oh, I can't wait to read it. I told my husband all about it. I'm like, are you gonna write me a book
I
now?
know, right? I'm like, you just set the standard for like bookstagram husbands way high. Like, no one's gonna be able to reach your level now.
I because it is, I mean, especially with me trying to write, I'm like, writing is hard.
It
It's
is.
really hard.
Yeah, no, I mean, it took him, I think he started officially writing it like January of this year. And then, I mean, he was writing it pretty much every day until he just finished. So, I mean, it did take
That's
him a
awesome.
good amount of time to go through and actually make it like an official book for sure.
Because it is, I mean, especially with me trying to write, I'm like, writing is hard.
It
It's
is.
really hard.
Yeah, no.
Is there going to be a book two?
He has written one chapter for book two. So he kind of wanted to see
How this one did.
would people read it? Like, would they be scared off because he's a guy writing romance? There aren't very many of them. And it is a clean romance. Like, there's just like a couple kisses in it. It's definitely slow burn, Pride and Prejudice kind of vibes. Like, it's very like a sweet romance. And seeing it kind of from the other side of like I wasn't the author, but I feel like I've gone through that journey with him. And now I'm like, I have so much more respect, even though I already like respect these indie authors more than like just so much for what they do. But having been on the other side for a little bit, I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Like it's scary and you go through so many emotions. And I'm just like, I give you props for doing it not only one time, but again and again and again, because it is like definitely a roller coaster of emotions for sure. And we didn't, I mean, I read it and I've read so many books. Like I think I've read 750-ish by now, that are just like clean romances, closed door romances. So I'm like, I think it's great, but I'm also super biased. Like this is my husband's book. And so now that we're like, I think we've now have like 3 official reviews that people have left on Amazon. And I'm just like, okay, it wasn't just me. Like it is a great book. Like,
Really good. But I mean,
it'll be okay.
you said enemies to more, one horse, contemporary where they go to a retreat, close proximity.
Yeah.
Just saying those, I'm like, it's already, I know it's
Yeah.
already, I'm gonna like it. Yeah. Those are my favorite tropes.
Yeah, mine too.
That's awesome. Well, I adore you. I think you're awesome. And I love like what you stand for and what you put out there. And I'm so excited to see where all of this goes and for your businesses that you have and all that stuff. Like I'm just so excited for you. And I'm glad that we have access to things like this that you offer people to help them grow their Instagram accounts, to help them sell their books, and to help readers find good, clean books. You're awesome. So we're grateful for you.
I appreciate you all too.
And good luck to your husband on his book and book 2,
Yeah,
hopefully.
I will let him know.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tanya.